Hey guys, I'm back. I was live streaming a few minutes ago actually. Still have everything written down. I'm going to be getting back to that very soon. It's just I'm not live streaming that tonight. My eyes are too sore. I don't normally wear my glasses, but because of the last night, my eyes are like super tired. So yeah, if you haven't seen chapter 1 or 2 yet, you should go see those first. If you're watching this as a video, go watch those first. If you're watching this live stream, which no one is at the moment, it's me, then yeah, you should go do that. It's more because, it's just, the one viewer is me, by the way, I believe. Because no one's messaged in the chat. And I'm looking on screen, I'm looking right at the top chat and everything. So I was gonna put some fan art up, and like not of me, but like of the Silver Eyes. Not Silver Eyes. Sorry, I'm tired. I told you so. I'm gonna put my glasses. Oh God, those are blurry. I didn't get my size. Shoot, I got hair all over them. That's not gonna help me see very much, is it? Some twisted ones. Fan art up, and I'm going to. Wow. That's like official. Oh my god. That's like official art for it, man. Maybe I'll put that up. But like, I'm gonna go to CC search. Okay. Sorry, this one's gonna be taking even longer to do. It's just, if you want to use a picture in the video, we have to make sure it's not copyrighted, right? And I'm gonna search up Twisted Ones FNAF. And all these can be labeled for reuse with modification. That didn't give me anything. Five Nights at Freddy's. Will that give me anything? No. It's not even giving me anything. Let's go fan art. It's not giving me anything. So I'll just put this up. I'll put this up. I'll see. First, I'll visit the site. See what's by. Ooh, cool. It's a DeviantArt. I'm gonna log in actually. Yes, I have a DeviantArt. Oh, let's see, skeleton. Yes, I have a DeviantArt. I haven't posted anything yet. I was thinking on doing it. I'm not doing that. Not doing that yet. I'm gonna not. Okay. I'm so sorry this is taking so long. This is stupid. I don't need any of this. Tab. Where's tab? Is there a tab button on here? Yes, there is. Any way to exit out of here? Just want to exit out of here. Visual IDK. Okay, you know what? Go back. I don't need that. So this is a DeviantArt. I'm gonna put it up. I'm gonna share it. Screen share. There. I am on DeviantArt. We're not gonna look at Second Life. So this is by Milagros Perez. You should go follow her or them on DeviantArt. But we're gonna leave this up. Hide. I'm gonna zoom in. That's zooming out. Why is this flipped all of a sudden? Oh, no. There we go. 75% is the best way to see this. And this is just going to stay up here. Oh, there we go. Got it up. That's awesome. So I'll once again, I'll shout her out at the end of the video. But yeah, I'm going to go to chapter 4. Or them out. It might be a her or he. I don't know. Okay. Chapter 4. She moved the pillowcase gently, taking care not to let it catch on anything. Beneath their shoulders, their shroud, the faces in sightless were placid. They looked like they could wait, ever listening, for eternity. Charlie switched them on and bent over to watch as they began, and to move their plastic mouths without sound, practicing. "Where?" said the first. "Here," said the second. "Where?" said the first again. Charlie drew back. Something was wrong with the voice. It sounded strained. "Here," repeated the second. "Where?" said the first, a rising intonation, like it was growing upset. That's not supposed to happen, Charlie thought, alarmed. They shouldn't be able to modulate their voices. "Where?" "Where?" said the first. The first one wailed, and Charlie stepped back. She leaned down slowly to peer under the desk, though she might find an entanglement of wires that could explain the strange behavior. As she stared puzzled, a baby began to cry. She stood at once, knocking her head painfully on the edge of the desk. The two faces looked suddenly more human, more childlike. One was crying, the other was watching, with an astonished look on its face. "It's okay," said the calmer face. "Don't leave me," the other wailed as it turned to look at Charlie. "I'm not going to leave you," Charlie cried. "Everything will be okay." The sound of crying swelled, higher and louder than human voices should be, and Charlie covered her ears, looking desperately around for someone to help. Her bedroom had darkened. The heavy things hung from the ceiling. Matted fur brushed her face, and her heart jolted. The children are not safe. She turned back, but an acre of fabric and fur somehow fallen between her and the wailing babies. "I'll find you." She shoved her way through, tripping on limbs and that dragged on the ground. The costume swung widely, like trees in a storm. And a little distance away, something fell on the floor, or with a hard clunk. At last, she reached her desk, but they were gone. The howling went on and on and on, so loud Charlie couldn't hear herself think, even as she realized that the screaming was her own. Charlie sat up with a loud, raw gasp, as if she had actually been screaming. "Charlie?" It was John's voice. Charlie looked around with one blurry eye to see a head peering through the bedroom door. "Give me a minute," Charlie called, as she sat up straight. "Get out!" she cried. John's head shrank back. The door closed. She felt shaky, her muscles weak. She'd been holding them tense in her sleep. She changed quickly into clean clothes and tried to brush her slightly tangled hair into something more manageable. Then opened the door. John poked his head in again, taking a cautious look around. "Okay, come in. It's not booby-trapped. Though, maybe it should be," Charlie joked. "How did you get in here?" "Well, it was open, and I—" John trailed off as he took in the room around him, momentarily distracted by the mess. "I thought maybe we could go to breakfast. I have work across town in about 40 minutes, but I have some time." "Oh, what a nice thought. But she said. "Sorry for the mess. It's my project. Sort of get wrapped up in it, and forget to clean it." She glanced at her desk. The pillowcase was in place where she should be. The vague outlines of the faces were visible beneath. "It's just a dream." John shrugged. "Yeah? What's the project?" Language, sort of." She looked around the room cautiously. Where did Jessica wander off to? Charlie knew John would be suspicious of her sudden residents' interest in clothes shopping and was hoping to avoid explanations. Natural language program, she went on. I'm taking computer programming class. At last, the moment, at last moment, that something stopped her from saying the word robotics. John nodded. He was still eyeing the mess, and Charlie couldn't tell what yet had caught his attention. She plunged back into her explanation. So, I'm working on teaching language, spoken language, to computers. She walked briskly to the door and peered out into the hall. Don't computers already know language? John called. Well, yeah, Charlie said as she returned to the room. She looked at John. His face had changed, stripped down from something more adult. But she could see him as he'd been in the year before, captivated as he watched her mechanical toys. I can tell him. One sec, wait a sec. How many pages is this server? 86, 31. So, not that many pages. Cool. Then a look of alarm crossed John's face. He surged forward to the bed, stopping a few inches from it. Pointed. Is that Theodore's head? He asked quickly. Yeah, Charlie said. She walked to the window and peeped through the blinds, trying to spot Jessica's car. So you have been to the house? No, well, yeah. I went back once, she confessed, to get him. She looked back at John guiltily. He shook his head. Charlie, you don't have to explain yourself, he said. It's your house. He grabbed a chair from the desk and sat down. Why'd you take him apart? She studied his face worriedly, wondering if he was already asking himself the next obvious question. What if it runs in the family? I wanted to see how he worked, Charlie said. She spoke carefully, feeling like she had to disappear irrational as possible. I would have taken Stanley and Ella too, but they're bolted to the floor. Pretty much, yeah. So I took Theodore. I'm actually using some of his components in my project. Charlie looked down as at the disembodied bunny's head into its blank glass eyes. Took him apart using his component in parts. That sounds rational. She had gotten Theodore from her father's house just before the school began. Jessica hadn't been home, and it was already evening, not quite dark, and Charlie had smuggled Theodore inside her backpack. She took him out, set him on the bed, and pressed the button to make him talk. As before, there was nothing but a strangled sound. Ooh, lee, ooh, lie. The scrambled, decayed traces of her father's voice. Charlie, he had felt a pang of anger at herself for even trying. You sound pretty awful, she said harshly to Theodore, who just up at her blankly, immune to reprimand. Charlie rifled through the bag of tools and parts which she hadn't taken over to her side of the room. She found a utility knife and went grimly to her bed and where the bunny waited. I'll put you back together when I'm done. Right. She looked up at John. Now saw the doubt on his face, or maybe it was concern, just like Jessica. Sorry, I know everything's a mess, she said, hearing the edge in her own voice. Maybe I'm a mess too, she added quietly. She set the bunny's head down on the pillow and the part of his leg beside it. So, do you still want to see my project? She asked. Yes. He smiled reassuringly, and followed her to her desk. Charlie hesitated, looking down at the pillowcase. Just a dream. So, she said nervously. Charlie, Charlie carefully switched everything on before unveiling the faces. Lights began to blink, ink and fans began to whir. She glanced at John again and took off the cloth. Faces moved in little patterns, as if stretching out after walking. Though was little they could stretch, Charlie swelled nervously. You. Me, said the first one. And Charlie heard John make a surprised sound behind her. Me. said the second one. Charlie held her breath, but they fell silent. Sorry, they usually say more, Charlie said. She grabbed a small object from the table and held it up. It was an oddly shaped piece of clear plastic with wiring inside. John frowned for a moment. Is that a hearing aid? He asked. Charlie nodded enthusiastically. It's used to be something. It used to be. It's something am experimenting with. They listen all the time, and they pick up everything that's said around them. But are just collecting data, not interacting with it. They can only interact with each other. He paused, waiting for a sound that John understood. He nodded, and she went on. I'm still working on out the kinks. The thing should make the person wearing it visible to them. Not literally visible, mean they can't see, but they'll recognize the person wearing the device as one of them. She looked expectantly at John. Why, what does that mean? See, he asked, seeming to search for the words. Charlie closed her hand on the earpiece, frustrated. He doesn't understand. I made them. I want to interact with them, she said. His expression grew thoughtful, and she looked away, suddenly regretting having shown him in the object. Anyways, it's not really finished. She edged to the door and glanced out. It's really cool, John called after her. When Charlie returned down the hallway, he gave her an odd look. Everything okay? Yeah. You should go, though. We'll be late for work. Charlie approached the faces. She looked down thoughtfully at her creation, then sighed and reached for the pillowcase to cover them. As she did, the second face moved. It jerked back on its stand and pivoted, locking its blind eyes on Charlie. She stared back. It was like looking at a statue. The eyes were only raised bumps and molded plastic. Charlie swallowed hard, feeling herself rooted to a spot. She studied the blank gaze until John put a hand on her shoulder. She jumped, startling him as well, then looked down at the earpiece in her hand. Oh, right, Charlie mumbled, and pressed the tiny power button on the side of it. She placed the earpiece carefully on top of the mess in her desk drawer, then closed the drawer. The face was still for a moment. Then it slowly turned back into place. It settled there, locked in a mirror stare with its double, as if it had never moved at all. Charlie covered them and switched them off, leaving them with only enough power to listen. At last, she looked up at John. Sorry, she said. Does that mean no breakfast? I have plans this morning, Charlie said. Me and Jessica, girl stuff. Really? John said quietly. Girl stuff? You? Yes, girl stuff. Jessica, yes, girl stuff. Jessica squealed as she entered the room excitedly. Shopping! Finally convinced Charlie it's worth trying on her clothes before she buys them. We might have moved past jeans and boots. Are you ready? We're ready, Charlie smiled, and John squinted at her. Jessica began escorting him gently at the door. Right, John said. I'll see you later then, Charlie. Charlie didn't respond, but Jessica gave a bright smile and then closed the door behind him. So, she clapped her hands. Where do you want to start today? I read the next sentence. It's like kind of funny. It's like, where do you want to start today? And what did she say? When they got to the parking lot of the abandoned mall, it was early afternoon. Charlie, this isn't what I had in mind, Jessica cried as they got out of the car. Charlie started for the entrance, but Jessica didn't follow. When Charlie turned, she was leaning against the car with her arms crossed. What are you doing? What are we doing here? Jessica asked, her eyebrows raised. I have to look inside, Charlie said. People's lives might depend on it. I just want to see if there's anything left. If the Freddy's, then we can go. Whose lives depend on it? And why not? Why now? Suddenly? Jessica asked. Charlie looked at her shoes. I just want to see, she said. She felt like a petulant child. Sorry. But she couldn't bring herself to tell Jessica the whole story. Is this because John is here? Jessica asked suddenly, and Charlie looked up surprised. What? No. Jessica sighed and uncrossed her arms. It's okay, Charlie. I get it. You haven't seen him since all of this happened, and then he shows up again. Of course, it brings everything back. Charlie nodded, gratefully laughing, latching on to this rational. It was easier to hiding the truth from her. Doubt there's much left, anyways, she said. Just want to walk through and remind myself that it's really over. Jessica finished. She smiled, and Charlie's heart sank. It's really, really not over. She forced a smile. Something like that. Charlie walked quickly through the mall, but Jessica lagged behind. The place felt entirely different. Sunlight poured through the massive gaps in the unfinished walls, and the ceiling. Shafts of light sifted between the smaller cracks and splashed against the stacks of concrete slabs. Charlie could see the moths, maybe butterflies, hovering in the windows, and as they passed through the empty halls on their way to Freddy's, they could hear the birds chirping. The deathly quiet she remembered. The overpowering sense of dread was gone. Yet Charlie thought as she glanced at the half-constructed storefronts, it still felt haunted, maybe even more than before. Was kind of it was kind of haunting, not frightening. But Charlie had the sense of something was present, like stepping onto a hollowed ground. Hello? Charlie said softly, not sure whom she was addressing. Do you hear something? Jessica slowed her pace. No, it feels smaller. I gestured to it at the open mouths of the never opened department stores. In the end of the hall, all ahead of them. It seemed too intimidating last time. It actually seems kind of peaceful. Jessica spun in place, enjoying the air from the outside, which was flowing freely through the empty spaces. Jessica followed Ode Charlie through the doorway and stopped dead, blinded by bright sunlight. Reddy's had been torn apart. Some of the walls still stood. The far end looked almost intact, but the front of her was a field of debris. Old, old bricks and broken tiles were strewn in the dirt. Two of them stood now on a slab of concrete that lay baking in the sun. The passage inward, along with the entire side wall of the restaurant, was gone. The walls and ceiling were just a line of rubble against the trees, and the concrete walkway was still there, worn dark by years of dank and leaking pipes. So much for Freddy's, Jessica said in a hushed voice, and Charlie nodded. They made their way through the debris. Charlie could make out the main dining room had been, but everything was gone. The tables and chairs, the checkered cloths, the party hats, all been removed. The merry-go-round had been ripped out, leaving nothing but a hole in the floor and some stray wires. The stage itself had been assaulted, though not removed. They must have been in the middle of that when the job was stopped. Boards were torn up across the main stage area, uh, and the left-hand side set of stairs was gone. What was left of the wall behind the stage broke off, and the top was more jagged, like mountains along the sky. You okay? Just looked to Charlie. Yeah, it's not what I expected, but I'm okay. She thought for a moment. Want to see what's still here? Charlie gestured to the stage, and they crossed what was left of the dining area. The floorboards cracked, and the linoleum torn. Jessica peered under a pile of rock where the arcade machines had been. The consoles had stood like dusty gravestones. Um, the the consoles that had stood like dusty gravestones were gone, but they could see the outlines of each one. And square patches remained where they had been buried from their posts. Stray wires huddled in small piles in the corners. Charlie turned her attention back to the main stage. She climbed up to where the animatronics animals had once performed. Careful, Jessica cried. Charlie nodded, an absent acknowledgement. She stood to one side, remembering the layout. This was where Freddy stood. The boards were torn up in front of her in the two more places. The destruction here was where they had taken out the pivoting plates and bolted the mascots to the stage. Not that they stayed bolted very long. Charlie thought wearily. She could see it now if she closed her eyes as the animals were going in through their programmed motions. Faster, faster, until it was clear. They were out of control, moving in widely, as if they were afraid. They were rocking out their stands, and then an awful sound of cracking wood as Bonnie lifted his bolted foot and tore himself from the stage. Charlie shook her head, trying to rid herself of the image. She made her way to the back of the stage. The lights were all gone, but the skeleton of exposed beams crisscrossed across the open sky by where the lights had been. So guys, I'm just gonna do something really quick. Stop screen sharing for a second. I just want to, which we'll see. Oh yeah, Fluffy's on. Or was on. Edit. I'm gonna edit you a little bit. Sorry. What's my notification? Ralston Sands is like, I never knew that was a ship. Yeah, there we go. We good. We good. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to that. Is Fluffy still on? No. Sorry, Fluffy, I never caught you. That sucks. Anyways, now the art is in the link for the art is in the description. Now, back to screen sharing. Hide. Okay. Where were we? There we were. She made her way back to the stage. The lights were all gone. The skeleton of exposed beams crisscrossed in the open sky, and where the lights had been. Jessica, she called. Where are you? Down here. She followed the sound of the girl's voice. Jessica was crouched in the place where the control room had been, peering into the gap under the stage. Nothing? Charlie asked, not sure of the answer he was hoping for. It's been gutted, she said. No monitors? Nothing. Charlie climbed down beside her. They peered together. This is where they were trapped last time. We were trapped last time, Jessica said quietly. Me and John. There was something at the door in the locked cot. I thought we would be stuck in that little room and She looked at Charlie, who simply nodded. The horrors of that night were unique to each of them. The moments that beset them in their sleep, or assailed their thoughts without warning in the middle of the day, were private. Come on, Charlie said abruptly, heading again towards the mound of rubble where more games had been. Charlie crouched under a large slab that leaned into the side and acted as a doorway to what was left of the place. This seems dangerous. Jessica tiptoed owed to the loose rock. The floor was still covered in carpet in most places, and Charlie could see the deep grooves where the arcade machines had been. She hurled herself at the console. And somehow it was enough. It wobbled on its base, then fell, knocking Foxy to the ground and pinning him there. She ran, but he was too quick. He caught her by the leg and ripped the hook right through her. She screamed, staring down at the snapping, twisted metal jaws and the burning silver eyes. That's from the last book. I know I didn't read the last book with you guys, but that is from the last book. A direct line from it, actually. She heard a noise, almost a whisper, and realized it was her. She clapped her hands over her mouth. I thought we were all gonna die, Jessica whispered. Me too, Charlie said. They looked at each other for a moment, an eerie stillness settling over the sunlit wreckage. Hey, this place is probably going to fall on us soon. So Jessica broke the silence, gesturing to the leaning slabs of concrete surrounding them. Charlie crawled back out the way they'd come and stood up. Her knees were crawling in with pins and needles, and she rubbed them. Then stomped on the ground. I want to check the costume room, see if there's anything up. Charlie, he said without expression. You mean if any body is left? Jessica shook her head. I have to know. Charlie gave her jeans a final brush and then started off toward it. The room stuck out of the rubble, alone and intact. It was a place where the costumes had been kept, and where Carlton had briefly been held prisoner. Charlie cautiously poked her head inside, studying the physical details around her. The chipped paint on the wall and the carpet that someone had begun to tear up and left unfinished. Don't think about last time. Don't think about what happened here. She let her eyes adjust a moment longer, then went outside. The room was empty. They did a cursory search, but everything had been removed. There was nothing left on the walls, floor, and ceiling. Clay did say they had gotten rid of everything, Charlie said. Just give a sharp look. Clay? When? He said he was going to, Charlie said hastily, hurrying the slip. Last year. They took a final look around. As they were leaving, Charlie spotted a glint of light from something in the corner. It was a plastic eyeball from an unknown animatronic mascot. Charlie was about to go to it, but stopped herself. There's nothing here, she said. Not waiting for Jessica, she headed back through the debris, looking down at her feet as she stepped over bricks and stones and shattered glass. Hey, wait! Jessica called after her hastily. Pirate's Cove! Charlie, look! Charlie stopped. She watched Jessica as she climbed over a steel beam and stepped carefully over the remains of a fallen wall in front of her. The curtain lay strewn across as what had appeared to be a pile of rubble. Charlie followed her, and then caught up. She could see that the curtain concealed a gap in the ruins. The tops of a few glittering chains peered out from the stone. A row of broken stage lights lay across the top of the curtain, and as though holding it in place. It's pretty good compared to the rest of the place, Jessica said. Charlie didn't answer. There was a dirty poster lying flat on the ground, depicting a cartoonish Foxy delivering pizza to children. Jessica, look! Charlie pointed at the ground. Those look like claw marks, Jessica said after a moment. There were long scratches and scrapes running the length of the floor, and Charlie and the dark marks looked like traces of blood. It had been dragged. It's like someone was being dragged. Jessica stood and followed the scratches. They led behind the curtain, away from the area of Pirate's Cove. Once stood the stage, Jessica said. When they moved the curtain aside, they found the stage had a small hatch in the back. Storage, Charlie murmured. She pulled on it. The hatch wouldn't open. There has to be a latch somewhere, Jessica said. She cleared the way in the dirt and broken wood out from the base of the stage, uncovering a deadbolt that went into the floor. She pulled it up, releasing the door, which swung open like something was pushing against it. A face lurched out from the darkness. Two gaping eyes swinging forward. Jessica screamed and fell backward. Charlie recoiled. The masked face hung lifelessly from the rotted fur costume. The entire mascot suit was still inside, crammed into its base, much too small for it. Charlie stopped, her whole body numb with shock, as she stared at the thing with a dread almost as old as she was. "The yellow rabbit," she whispered. "It's Dave!" Jessica gasped, as Charlie took a deep breath, forcing herself back to present. "Come on, help me," she said. She stepped forward and grabbed the fabric, pulling on whatever she could reach. "You're kidding! I'm not touching that thing!" "Jessica, get over here!" Charlie commanded, and Jessica came reluctantly over. "Ew, ew, ew!" Jessica touched the suit, then recoiled. She gave Charlie a flat look and tried again, yanking her hands away as soon as she touched it. "Ew!" she repeated quietly, and finally she screwed her eyes shut and took hold of it. Together they pulled, but nothing happened. "I think it's stuck," Jessica said. They shifted the position and finally heaved the mascot out of the cramped space. Fabric caught on stray nails and jagged wood, but Charlie kept pulling. At last the creature was out, splayed heavily on the ground. "I definitely don't think Dave faked his own death," Charlie said. "What if it's not him?" Jessica peered carefully into his face. "It's him." They looked at the dry blood soaked in the mascot's fingertips. The spring logs might not have killed him right away, but this is where he died. They could see Dave's body through the gaps in the costume and wide carved eyes. Bits of the mascot head showed through to his face. The skin was as desiccated and shriveled, and his eyes were wide open, his face expressionless and discolored. Charlie moved closer again. Her initial shock had been past, and now she was curious to see more of him. She propped carefully at first, in case some of the spring locks inside might have still been waiting to snap. But it was clear that they'd already done their damage. The locks had been driven deeply into his skin. At the bases of each of them were flush against his neck. They looked like a part of him. Charlie studied his chest to the costume. There were large tears in the yellow fabric, which had gone green and pink with mold in patches. She grabbed a hole in the sides and pulled the gap open as wide as she could, and Jessica watched, fascinated, her hand over her mouth. Skewers of metal protruded through the entire body, dull and crusted with his blood, and there were more complex parts, twisted knots of gore, where with many layers of machinery stuck out from his body. The suit's fabric didn't seem to have rotted, despite the year that had passed. "It's like he fused with the suit," Charlie said. And she tugged at the mascot's head, trying to pull it off, but it gave up quickly. The gaping eyes stared up at her, behind which was the dead man's face. With light directly on him, Dave's skin appeared sickly and discolored. Charlie felt a sudden rush of nausea and pulled back from the corpse, looking up at Jessica. "So now what?" Jessica said. "You want to give him a foot massage, too?" She abruptly turned her head away, gagging at her own joke. "Listen, I have a class in." She checked her watch. "About an hour. Still want to go shopping?" "Why can't I have normal friends?" Jessica groaned. That line right there just reminded me of like my. It reminded me of my friend Marley, actually, because she's always like, she thinks that she's normalist to all normal people, and I'm like, no, you're not. Anyways, that was Twisted Ones, Chapter 4, guys. If you liked it, press that like button, press that subscribe button, and sorry for the weird one. This one was kind of hard to do because like I had to I was adding some things, like the art. The art link is in the description below. Please don't copyright me. I worked next time I'm gonna be using my own art. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm Old Skeleton Wizard. This was chapter 4 of the Twisted Ones. Peace out, my dudes.